Cucumber melon pie. This has been an experiment that's been waiting to happen for a long time. I have been curious to see how this worked. I did it about 3 different ways. That's why I have the smaller ones, to try a couple different ways so I didn't have to make 3 big pies that I can't eat all of. So we have 3 different ways that I tried to do this. And I want to kind of see which one works best. I have enough to make another one for a friend if they want to try it. So we have 5 here. My friend is gluten-free, so the crust on these is a puff pastry. I feel like the concept of a cucumber melon pie necessitates a light crust. You can't have a heavy, dense, bready crust, and you shouldn't have a like a graham. Well, I'd be curious to try like a graham cracker crust or something like that. I think the trouble with the graham cracker crust is these are still very liquidy, and I feel like a graham cracker crust would just disintegrate under the moisture in this. I did try to thicken it a bit. I used a pectin, which actually benefited in a couple ways. It added a little bit of the tartness to it. It helped it gel a little bit. And I feel like it still could have gelled a little bit more looking at the way it is. It's very kind of, you can kind of see it is largely set up, but I did a fair amount of thickening to get it there. I might try in the future using a tapioca pearls to see if I can add some texture to. And that's the other thing. I did this in, like I said, 3 different ways. One of them is whole pieces of the cucumber and melon. I took a peeler and I took pieces off of each of them, and so they're little shavings. They're thick enough that they're pieces of fruit and vegetable in there that you can taste. But one of them I actually ran through a blender to make a thicker liquid, and so there isn't that chunkiness that when you eat like an apple pie, you don't want like an apple custard pie. Like, well, maybe you want an apple custard pie, but you want to have slices of apple. And so one of them has slices of cucumber and melon. One of them is a very blended one. And that one took, interestingly enough, that took a lot more to try to get it to thicken. The third option I did was one that I had come up with a while back that's based loosely on a mock apple pie. Now, mock apple pie is largely water and acid, sugar, Ritz crackers, and that's kind of it. And so you make a syrup that has an acidity to it and a sweetness to it, and it gives the illusion of pear or apple. And that's sort of where the point of a mock apple pie comes from. So taking that same premise, instead of adding an acid, just use the natural flavors of the cucumber and the melon and use the juices as the water. And so I tried to do something to that effect. So this is essentially the juices from cooking the melon and the cucumber down, mixed with some sugar and poured over Ritz cracker crumbs. Because my crusts are small, it's not I couldn't do whole slices of, I couldn't do whole Ritz crackers, so I had to do smaller portions of them. I will see if I can, let's see. These 2 are the cracker ones. These 2 are the whole fruit ones. That means that this one should be the just the juice with the pectin thickened with, that's really kind of good. Like, it doesn't need a lick of more effort. It's thickened a little bit with some flour to get it thicker. And I think I would opt for like a tapioca flour in the future if I wanted to thicken that, or like I said, the pearls to absorb some of the liquid out of it and thicken it a little bit. I thought about adding in more table sugar or powdered sugar to make it more syrupy. But honestly, like, just the little bit of taste I had there, that's it. I feel like adding too much sugar to that could make it too sweet for what it is. It's got the right sweetness level. And the pectin that I used has some lactic and citric acid in it. And it gives a nice little bit of a zing to it, so you don't have to add like any lemon. So basically, on all of these, what I have here is cucumber, honeydew melon, cooked together until soft and transparent, translucent, and then about well, altogether, I'd say there's probably about 9 teaspoons of granulated sugar and about 2 tablespoons of flour as a thickener, and a decent sized portion of pectin. I think I would opt for less pectin maybe in the future. I got those packets that are pre-liquid pectin. I think I might I might do a little pectin in the future. I don't know if I could do pectin and like an agar gelatin to help thicken it a little bit. All right, so that's a lot of chit chat. Now the real question is, how do they taste? So I want to actually do not just a taste. I want to see if I can cut one of them in a way that I can see how much it holds up without oozing out. I have a sinking suspicion that these are still pretty liquid. So that's sort of 1/2. It's still gonna probably flow out a little bit. It's not too bad, actually. It's holding up pretty good. This is the one with the pieces in it, so I can see if I can pull out a piece of cooked cucumber or honeydew. I can't tell you which it is. They look very similar. One's cooked. And if you've never had cooked cucumber before, I do recommend it. I like to put it in stir fries. So let's give this a taste. That's about right. It's not overpoweringly sweet, and it doesn't have a heavy tartness. The pectin gives it a little tartness. It's not sweet. It's not overly watery. I can taste a little bit of the pastiness from the flour used to thicken it, but no, actually, let me pull that apart here so that you can see that the insides are still sort of flowing out. So I do think I have to work a little bit on the thickening. Get it all over my little table here. But I'd wager like an egg yolk or something in there. I don't want to use an egg yolk. I kind of like the fact that it doesn't require egg or milk or anything like that. All right. Now, let's take a look at the Ritz cracker one. The mock apple pie variant. This one does seem to have a little bit more of the hold it together. Oh, well, maybe I spoke too soon. Yeah, there's a little bit of volcano flow to it. That's not bad. And the Ritz cracker acts as a thickener without giving it a pastiness in its taste. That's actually pretty good. I think that works about right. I think you could probably even up the cracker to filling ratio without altering the flavor too much, and therefore get a thicker result. I think that works actually surprisingly well. So I may play with that design a little bit more. And then there's just the last one, which was the juices. No fruit. Pieces. Oh, actually, no. The last one is the blended. That's right. The Ritz cracker is the juice with no pieces, and over the Ritz. The last one is the blended bit with flour as a thickener. So let's give that a try. Oh, that one's very liquidy in the middle. I don't even think that's going to hold together once it's split in half. Nope, it's just flowing like a volcano. Okay, so that one's not holding together very well. All right. Yeah, that one just dribbled all out. That's actually a little bit more like a pudding. I might have this all over me right now. It doesn't have a pasty taste to it just yet, but it does have a very flour taste to it. Overall, I'd say this is actually really tasty. Just need to work a little bit on the thickening. It wouldn't be me if I didn't find something to tweak and play with a little bit further. So I would say this is definitely a winner. I'm going to explore the Ritz one further. I think that offers the most promise in the long run. Although I may experiment with tapioca flour, agar, and see what I can get to happen there. Now, the way I approached this was to take 2 good-sized cucumbers and peel them both. And I favor a cucumber with a fair amount of yellow on it because they're the ones that tend to have a little tartness to them. They're actually ripening. We eat most of our cucumbers unripened. And so I peeled those, cooked the skins while I sliced one in small discs and a little bit off of the ends of the other one. So it's about 1.5 cucumbers, the peels of 2 cucumbers first. I pulled the peels out once they'd cooked soft, and then put the main part of the cucumber in there. And then I took about 1/4 of a honeydew melon, cut it into quarters, and then cut that wedge into smaller pieces and used a vegetable peeler to cut out strips of that melon. And I cooked them both together. I started the pan with some water, like a 1/4 cup of water, so that you're not searing the cucumber pieces when you go in there. And once they start to cook, they'll actually produce more liquid. And then I added a little bit of sugar. All told, to the top of that was probably, I split it into 3 sections. So I did the blended portion, the vegetable portion, and the liquid portion. And each one of those had a 1/2 capful of vanilla extract and 3 teaspoons of white sugar, granulated sugar added to it. And then I let it sit up, and it did seem to thicken a little bit once the sugar and stuff were added. Let that sit a bit and stirred in the pectin. I think I would go with less pectin. I don't know that it added any thickening to this. Well, it added a little bit, but it didn't add enough, I don't think. And then it added a lot of tartness. But I think with the thickeners that I used, like the flours and with the pastry shell, that tartness is dissipated significantly. So it's not anywhere near as bad as I anticipated it. Because that pectin was super sour. Like if you were just to use that pectin, you would want to add sugar to it in order to get something that's remotely like a lemonade. It's that tart. It's very lemony. It's not lemon particularly, but I will say it's a very different, like, it's a very different taste. There's a little tartness in there. You can taste the melon and you can taste the cucumber, but if you don't know that's what it is, I think my instinct is to say something like a kiwi. Like you want to think like a kiwi or a guava. Some tropical fruit. I mean, that's the flavor profile is just one you're not used to having be a sweet, desserty taste. And it works, I think. I do think if I can hack this problem of the liquid nature of it, that I will try to bring it to family gatherings for them to try. Well, that was an interesting experiment. I would rate this probably I would say the root beer pancakes are still number one this week. Root beer pancakes with vanilla ice cream syrup still takes it home. But I feel like this beats Eggs Benedict salad. And it just beats out the fish taco stuffed peppers. I feel like that's the right order. Is I think I would go with the root beer pancakes, this fish tacos, eggs Benedict salad, and after that I would put the roast red pepper and garlic fries, because I mean they were okay. There's not anything in there that I would say like was amazing, a must-have recipe. But this is like, it's good enough that if I served it, I think people would enjoy it. I think if I can crack that last little hurdle, this would be up there on the top with the pancakes. But I think expecting anything to dethrone the root beer float pancakes, I think that's an ambitious seek, an ambitious ask. It's really hard to beat perfection. So there's a part of me kind of curious about whether or not this approach to pie could be extended to a few other unusual sorts. Like I wonder if I could figure out, if I can crack this thickening issue, could I get to a point where I could make a watermelon pie? Or One of my favorite flavor combinations is a cranberry and mandarin orange. That's a good fall combination. I might play with that one a little bit. I just need to solve that thickening. And that's not an impossible task. I like it. All right, cool beans. That's sort of the run for this week. I've done my 5 recipes. I've done the, what was it, the breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, and dessert. Those are my 5 for the week. Next week is going to be video content creation and working on a project for that one. And then I believe it's board game after that. But in the meantime, I do have to do some updates on some short stories out of this book, reviewing them and then creating creative prompts inspired by them. So I'll try to upload those tonight because I seem to be having difficulty during the daytime uploads with video crash. So I'll see what I can do this evening for tonight's episode of Short Stories. And because it's the month before National Novel Writing Month, this whole month is going to be short stories, a review, and creative prompts. So feel free to use anything that I offer to get you started writing for National Novel Writing Month, or even if you're not participating in NaNoWriMo, do a little creativity on your part and share it with us so we can support each other. So thank you for joining me. Take care and have a good night. I will catch you in the next video.